SEL versus Great Lakes edition. We've had one series played so far, very quickly unfortunately. It was a 4-0, Purdue taking down Auburn in sweeping fashion. So, Great Lakes up one series so far. But next up, I'm bringing in Texas and Indiana Tech to play, as well as Mr. DJ TJ to cast the next couple series with me. TJ, how you doing?
Doing good. You know, we had to bring an SEC stacked desk to make sure we could support the SEL and hopefully kind of get the rivalry back on track. But yeah, it's a pleasure to be here on Tuesday Night Lights.
I mean, it's only fitting we get two SEC casters to introduce the newest SEC school. And I guess it's not really football season or like the fall semester season quite yet, but August is close enough. I mean, Texas is essentially an SEC school now. Indiana Tech, though, definitely not an SEC school, but in the last Great Lakes Summer Showdown, they made a pretty solid run to top 8. So this is a decent squad playing a pretty decent Texas team as well, which, for those curious, KJ is stepping up from the substitute spot to fill Adorn's shoes alongside Aviator and Benda. So I'm curious to watch the new look Texas team. But I mean, TJ, it's the start of the season. A lot of teams are getting themselves together. You've been through a couple of beginning of seasons. At this point, like August, are you even playing yet, like with your new fall semester team as a player?
Well, a lot of schools do their tryouts differently, and I mean, there's some are fortunate enough to know that, hey, this is going to be our main 3 over the summer, and then we're going to roll into the fall, but I know a lot of schools who won't be doing tryouts for another 3-4 weeks. So I think doing show matches like these are probably a test run for a lot of these teams, but what I'm most excited for about this game is Indiana Tech with the addition of Naz. Naz is somebody that I played in high school who has been a good friend of mine over Twitter, and obviously Chippy being a really good friend of mine over Twitter as well, and so I'm very excited to see how the new signee does today.
I mean, new additions, new look teams, and just a great night of Rocket League. I mean, the series after this that I know you're sticking around for, TJ, is UTK and Michigan State. Like, that should also be a banger of a series. Two juggernauts in their respective conferences. To look ahead just real quick, you looking forward to that one?
Oh, how could you not? I mean, two incredible powerhouses, schools that are kind of right outside that CCA top 32. I mean, literally, we're talking singular games outside of it. So that one's going to be great.
And, all right, well, to go back to this series, we just got word Naz is not playing today.
Yeah, unfortunate.
So, no new signee, but still a really solid Indiana Tech roster. This program is very good. And, I mean, Bub from Great Lakes, he talks about them very highly. Obviously, being a manager, I believe he is the role he's taken for the team. He talks about them very highly, as he should. But this is a solid Indiana Tech roster that I got to watch during that Great Lakes Summer Showdown. So against a new look Texas team, this is a great chance for Indiana Tech to show themselves off, which I think both teams are in the lobby, so I'm going to go ahead and ask them if they're ready to go. But for the SEL, I mean, Texas needs a win here to level the playing field tonight.
Yeah, and I do think that since we have it's actually 3 new members for Indiana Tech. So Naz is subbing, and then they have 2 other new members to the team. So Chippy is the only consistent part of this roster, which means I think I got to give Texas the upper hand here, but that means we literally have no idea what to expect here.
Well, that's some kind of like Mandela effect thing with me, because I really thought that Bluey and Miller, or maybe not Miller, but Bluey for sure, I thought had played for Indiana Tech. But hey, that shows what I know. We're just up in the booth. Let's the players do the talking. Texas and Indiana Tech, a second series of the SEL versus Great Lakes Rivalry Night on Tuesday Night Lights is underway. Here we go.
You're looking for players to watch out for just to kind of get your cards ready for this one. You have to look at Chippy versus Aviator. I believe both the kind of clear team captains of their respective teams, but I mean, going down the list, there's so many difference makers, and how about KJ here?
I mean, substitute to starter. I know KJ's got experience, I believe. Played in the CCS National Tournament with Adorn and Aviator, I believe. So has playing experience starting off the scoring first. Not too shabby for the newest starter.
I mean, every series that I seem to cast with you or in the SEL, there always seems to be some sort of sub who's now a starter and then who always has an incredible performance. So I'm not going to say thank you, but wait a minute, he gets beat here by Bluey.
All right. welcome. As an official new roster, I believe this is the roster that played in the Summer Showdown. But, man, Bluey showing up big time for Indiana Tech. How about that?
Off to a very fiery start here. You know, we were hyping up the next series, but who says this one can't go to 7? Miller, flip reset. Aviator, though, too easy of a save for him, and this 50 will finally give us at least a little bit of time.
I mean, last time Texas played on then Monday Night Lights, they beat Davenport Red, the B team, in 4 games, a 3-1 in a best of 5, and Game 3 included a 12-minute overtime. So I'm fully expecting entertainment from Texas at the very least. And Indiana Tech, I mean, they got Bub going to the same school. So a dude's an entertainer himself. I'm sure he's infused the Rocket League team with that same kind of energy. But 1-1 in the first minute and change, and Indiana Tech with a good amount of pressure right now.
It's always interesting to see how schools who I don't believe have ever played each other finally get the chance to go head-to-head, and especially in a best-of-7 where you know that you have arguably multiple games to figure the other team out before it becomes dire need. And right now, both teams, that first minute was so sloppy, but now we're finally starting to see some more reserve gameplay. But Aviator trying to change that, looking for KJ in the middle, but Bluey a very good counter there. Can Benda get this one? No, he cannot. Aviator all by his lonesome, but who else would you want on their back foot here?
Oh yeah, Aviator does so well. Not just to clear the ball, but to find Benda at the end of the play as well. And then pick it up on the sideline, though Chip and Bluey do very well to flip possession and put a shot on that Benda gets back just in the nick of time for. Good defense by Texas to stop what was a very good-looking opportunity for Indiana Tech.
Indiana Tech with everything to prove so far, really putting some pressure on here as that redirect will go off, and now this could be a 3v1, but Miller, confidence all throughout this Indiana Tech roster. Look at Chip pre-jumping for this one. That won't hit. Aviator will be beat. This roster playing quick, but also making all of their touches, keeping this confidence going and flowing.
This is such a great match of speed and on-ball ability so far. I mean, after the last series, I was a little worried we were going to have too many sweeps tonight, but so far, this best-of-7, and we are only 3 minutes in, but right now it just looks so even across the pitch, back and forth. Both teams putting decent looks on the board, both defenses playing well until then, but Aviator somehow salvages that play after a double commit on the crossbar and keeps us tied.
Once again, who else would you want on that back line? Aviator having to fall back, and so I worry a little bit about Texas trying to get some offense going, as there really hasn't been too many looks other than Aviator kind of working the midfield by himself. But now Bluey, he's looked incredible so far. He's got a musty, but he doesn't have the double. Is there a player to follow? It's Miller, but he can't put one on net. But Bluey has looked incredible right now.
That's a nice dunk, but Aviator does well on the goal line, and Benda, I don't think he was even necessary in that play. Aviator just beat everybody back to the Indiana Tech goal line. That ball leaks center. Miller's trying to rotate back and had half a play on that ball, but ultimately couldn't get back to it.
And Bluey and Miller both in the same places on 2 separate sides of the fields, and neither one able to get back. So Indiana Tech working out the kinks, but on offense they have a lot figured out here, including Chip off the backboard looking to tie this one up. But Benda, what a save. Miller up next. Aviator, though, not worried and not flustered as he'll push this one out middle.
Oh, that's a missed block by Benda. Forces KJ to panic. Bluey leaves the ball for Chip to shoot. Benda got in the way before anything dangerous developed. Now, awkward on the goal line is the entirety of Texas. That was such great control by Indiana Tech, using the height of the ball to ultimately spread apart Texas and score the equalizer.
Yeah, Aviator, not a bad idea, but pushing that ball middle is obviously a scary thought no matter what, and just barely doesn't land that wave dash off the backboard, and that's all that this Indiana Tech roster needs.
And Miller on the ball off kickoff, gets to the goal line, sets up Bluey, but his worm burner stopped by Benda on the Texas goal line, and Aviator bumps Chip off the play, so Texas trying to find a clear, but Miller not keen on allowing it at the moment, though he's got nothing in the boost tank. So Aviator finds KJ down the field, and Texas have a decent looking opportunity that they capitalize on, and they claim a late lead.
team sport here. KJ, Aviator trying to clear out this net, and it does take 2 people, but hey, a goal is a goal, and with 40 seconds left, what more can you ask for?
Poor Bluey. That was just a rotation to the near post. That was a rotation into Bluey's Fennec as Aviator was bumping him, and then KJ comes in to polish off the play with a bump on him, and Texas do very well to find themselves a late lead. 30 seconds left and trying to add to it.
Indiana Tech, again, they've shown so much already in this first game. What will be better than tying up a game that they looked like they were kind of down in a lot of the time, like Bluey looking for a bump here. Miller on the follow-up shot. Aviator will not get to it, but Bendo will instead. There's nobody near. He'll turtle his way bottom left. Texas basically will clinch game 1.
Wow, and it's another play where the ball just kind of leaks out in front of a Texas defender, and Indiana Tech put too many eggs in one basket, and they're beaten back to the goal line. I don't mind that play right there. They kind of had to go all in at some point, but right there, it works out in favor of Texas, and in a highly contested game 1, it looks like the Longhorns will come out on top unless Indiana Tech does something quick, which that ball is just not in a position for them to do.
And this kind of was what I was expecting here in this series. Texas being the more consistent team, having more hours together, I would expect them to come out and simply look like the more controlled team. And you could see Indiana Tech threw the kitchen and the sink at them, trying to just do whatever they could to clear up some room. And they had some great opportunities, but at the end of the day, the Texas defense was incredible, including Aviator leading the way.
I mean, Bento with 6 saves as well on 15 Indiana Tech shots, 13 of those coming from Bluey and Miller. I mean, Indiana Tech, they looked fairly composed as well at times in offense. There were those 2 goals that they kind of let slip where they just let that ball bounce in front of a Texas defender on the goal line, and there was no one left to defend the counterattack. But outside of that, they did a great job controlling possession that game. And if they're able to limit those free runs just straight down the middle lane for Texas, then hey, maybe Indiana Tech is able to get one back here. But it's down to execution now, and I look to their offense to change the complexion of this series so far.
It's a very slippery slope for Indiana Tech when you have somebody as skilled as Aviator who really isn't being pressured. I mean, yes, he wasn't leading the team in points, but that's because he doesn't need to. He doesn't have to be the leading shot guy or the leading save guy. All he has to do is control the pace of the game and give his teammates a chance to succeed. As Aviator trying to do that by clearing Bluey out, but Bluey doing a good job to work his way past 2.
Miller takes 50-50 with Benda, goes neutrally. No one wins it. The chip takes over, but about for possession, Indiana Tech actually will win, but they sacrifice a lot of territory to get that victory. And Aviator nearly took advantage of that territory loss, the nice dunk, but it's counter-dunked by Indiana Tech. They get a clear, and well, Texas sends it right back. No one has clear control of Game 2 right now.
It's these small rotational differences in consistency that will make the difference for Texas, as they got to watch out here as they're a little slow coming back here. But now Benda might have an open net to look at, and somehow, some way, Benda looking for a bump. Miller can't get back, and I mean, hey, I was just about to discredit their rotation, but I guess they got it.
And it's Chip as the third man committing right there. I didn't see the play before he took that 50-50, but he committed it and lost it. And it's another play where Texas, all they have to do is walk the dog right down the road into the back of the Indiana Tech net. And it's a freebie of sorts. The actual goal scoring was easy, but they had to withstand a lot of pressure, and good pressure by the Indiana Tech offense to get to that point. But hey, Texas is still playing defense very nicely.
Aviator once again controlling the pace, looking for a little more up the wall, but Miller, zero boost, doing a good job to kind of stall that out for now. But here comes Benda, counterattack, not going to fall, but KJ positioned wonderfully. Chip trying to stay on this ball. It's a tap down to Miller, and once again, Indiana Tech, this style of possession up until the midfield just simply isn't working. They can try and take one out, but you've got to do more, and you've got to stop Aviator, who somehow gets a buttload of power on that one.
How on earth did he generate that much power on the last turn of his Fennec? That is absurd, the amount of oomph he put on that shot. And that's why you can't let Aviator have space. He will make you pay.
It's in the name and it's in the clan tag. He simply understands the air, and that was indeed a bonk. So we'll see what more he has in store. See if he has anything else pressure-wise. He can start right off the rip here as he'll push this one far left side. KJ once again reading the Indiana Tech half really well. Chip begging for Miller. Bluey needs to beat a player here, but once again, they have to get out of the midfield.
Chip not really going to get them out of there, and gives the ball to Benda on the sideline, yes, but that's control that Indiana Tech can't really afford right now, as Aviator bounces it off the back wall, plays it nearly around Chip, but Chip, great job getting the toe on that ball to intervene with the trickery Aviator was throwing his way. So Bluey clears the defensive end and puts Indiana Tech in a scoreable position, just narrowly. Misses out on a tight angle shot, though.
Miller, not a lot of boost at the time. Couldn't find an opportunity, but he might find a double touch here. He'll miss. Bluey, he'll be blocked. Chip gets a chance on net, but KJ is uncontested. Aviator's redirect, dunked. Miller, is there a teammate there to shoot? No. Chip's demo will take him out of the play, and Indiana Tech finally start getting some looks, but just like that, Texas gains control.
I mean, they had plenty of looks in game one, but Texas still found ways to stop them, and that's the case here as well, as Miller has some space off the back wall. Bluey takes a shot, and it's the fourth Texas defender that finds a save there to keep Indiana Tech scoreless, as the shot careens off the post, and Indiana Tech, they try again.
Bluey has looked so talented mechanically, but so far 0 for 3 in this game. And I'm not saying that he's the pure difference maker, but you would like to see either him or Chip kind of leading the way offensively. I mean, Miller's doing his best to hold the back line down, and here was Zero Boost doing the same, but he'll be dunked. And Chip, can he get back to this one? No, he can't, and it's just chaos with Indiana Tech's rotations right now.
And it looked like Chip was able to catch this, but didn't keep driving into the ball. Maybe the turn angle would have had him coming up short, but either way, he's right there. That has to hurt so bad to just narrowly be out of position and have the ball scored right in your face. And Texas, despite giving up a lot of pressure at times to Indiana Tech, saving nearly everything. Until now, Chip gets one back.
I was just about to say that Indiana Tech can fix a lot of their issues with simple communication, and here Bluey just simply beats a player and Chip up next. That's the dynamic duo that it's going to take in order for Indiana Tech to get back into this one.
Of the redemption as well. Chip being the one closest to the third goal Texas just scored. And he gets the first goal on the board for Indiana Tech. We'll see what kind of go they have at making this comeback happen. Chip's in a good position here. Puts the ball off the back wall, but Aviator plays it nicely, and Benda has space to clear.
Look at Miller, though, coming out as third man, just instantly putting a challenge on him. Bluey's pre-jumped, he's looking to pass back down here. Chip will get a chance to find a teammate middle, but again, it's kind of rushed, kind of forced, and KJ will say thank you very much. Bluey now, 100 boost, trying to find some work out of his corner. He's got one player beat, make it a second. Benda barely able to get to that one, though. Miller, backboard, KJ has to watch out for Chip. That ball will go straight back down. Is there a shot here? Net is wide open. Miller will find the second for Indiana Tech.
And there absolutely is something to be said about the comeback out of Indiana Tech. Great couple of beats in the offensive zone, and Miller seizes that opportunity, uses every drop of boost in his tank, and he wins the race to the ball on the near side right there. 3-2, Texas. Better look out as Indiana Tech starting to come from behind.
Biggest glaring difference, if you take a look at the scoreboard, is that Texas has had the possession. They are leading in touches by miles here, and you can tell that just by looking at the score, just by looking at the shots. But Indiana Tech, this entire half of the game has been very positive for them, but you can't let Aviator and KJ work you, and Miller will deny.
Bends off the back wall, trying to force a miss out of Miller. That's actually Bluey that plays the ball backwards to himself. Indiana Tech have it all to do here in the waning moments of game number 2. KJ steps up at the midfield line and will really make it difficult for Indiana Tech to score their third. It has to happen on 0 seconds, and they can keep the ball up a little bit longer. Bluey around, bumps the next man. Benda comes in and plays the ball over towards Bluey. Miller straight up. Benda has the boost. Game 1 over Chip. No, the ball still hangs in the air until it doesn't. Stupid gravity. Texas win game 2.
Few chances there for Indiana Tech, but it was too little too late, and you can tell that they are a new team. They are slowly finding their rhythm, but again, Texas had a more consistent start, and they just simply poured it on, and it was too much.
Even then, on the back end, when Texas did start to lose momentum and give up a number of shots and just time spent in their defensive end, they did well to make the saves that they had to. And even when it got scary there at the end, the equalizer seemed to be on the cards at 0 seconds. They kept their nerve. Aviator and Benda have been doing this for a very long time. I've been watching them since their freshman year, which they're both seniors now, I believe, and that makes me feel old. But they know how to win games, and game 2 showed that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to make an age joke. We'll just kind of gloss over that fact. But hey, experience is a very key part of this game. I mean, Bluey had mentioned it himself in Twitch chat, is that him and Miller are brand new to this Indiana Tech roster, and I can see the potential in the Chip and Bluey offensive duo, but as of right now, I have seen pure solo plays other than the one goal they got there to try and keep things interesting in the back half, and you've got to find more of those opportunities. You've got to start seeing the vision of your team. You've got to find some passing lanes, or else you're going to go down 4-0.
Well, those glimpses have to turn into goals. There we go. All right, those glimpses have turned into goals as now Indiana Tech down by 2 games. The little bar on the bottom wouldn't disappear there. I don't know why H wasn't working, but it's all good. We got it. And we're into game 3 with Texas starting off on the Indiana Tech side of the ball. Set up a decent look right now as that ball hangs in the air for Aviator, who plays it slowly. And that ends up working against him as Miller recovers and finds a great block.
2 players dove, though, and other than Miller, there's not a whole lot of boost in this Indiana Tech half. So Miller doing a great job. He's going to fake for Bluey, who did get the mid-boost, who has a double. He will miss. Chip will not be able to put that double in, and once again, Indiana Tech, a lost opportunity.
Yeah, and now, I mean, Bub is on vacation right now. Otherwise, he would more than likely be casting this series right now. And if he's watching, I don't know if he is, but I hope he's not. For the sake of his heart, being on vacation should be relaxing. But Indiana Tech keep having these really good-looking shots just narrowly get saved at the last second or go off the post. I mean, that right there is so close to being an incredible redirect. But instead, it's well, fairly wide. But still, it could be on target. Oh,
when that one will find the back of the net. Bluey solo play backboard. How about this touch, Bepic?
Yeah, I gotta see this again. That's all right. He just got around the ball. It's a clean shot and helped along there at the end by KJ, but he had to make a play on it. So 1-0 Indiana Tech, again, putting good pressure on Texas. Nobody's perfect in defense, and with how well Indiana Tech are playing at the moment in offense, they are going to force Texas' defense to show off those cracks.
I mean, me and Texas were in the same boat. I didn't expect him to find a touch there at all, and now Aviator unexpectedly getting through, opening a lane for KJ. KJ to Aviator. Top bends. Miller misses. Bend to top left. He is denied, and now Chip backwards, but he will find some possession.
So close. This time on the Texas side, scoring an equalizer. But Indiana Tech finding a way to get out unscathed and connect down the field. Bluey's shot is just a little wide from the midfield line. Texas respond. They slow down the Indiana Tech push into offense and might stop it completely depending on how Benda fields this ball.
I will say Indiana Tech not losing a lot of confidence. You can still see their first man lingering in the Texas half, just waiting for that one opportunity, that one redirect, or maybe something like this where there's a bump opportunity, but Indiana Tech still a car length or 2 away from really pushing those opportunities in the back of the net. Here's some good possession, though. Chip maybe faking for Bluey. That's exactly what he will do, and it's a great shot from Bluey. Here's the passing plays we want to see.
I am so glad the director cam showed that whole sequence from Benda's perspective here, because Aviator leaks out into the corner to maybe contest that ball at the midfield line, leaving Benda as the third man with like 6 drops of boost. And when that ball hung in the air that long, I was like, oh man, Benda is screwed. And he was. Couldn't make a save. It's 2-0 Indiana Tech. Make it 3. Oh my word. What a play.
Yeah, me and Aviator had the same reaction. Is right. Bluey, I think that was on the net regardless. But Chip off of the sidewall, or off the backboard, sorry, the side of it, will somehow find that off the top of his car and redirect it in.
That's insane. That is insane. Indiana Tech find themselves up a trio now of goals, and they've found a bit of a rhythm. I don't know how calculated that last goal was, but 3-0 speaks for itself. They are looking much better here in Game 3.
Well, this is finally the mechanical prowess that with a passing play here and there, Indiana Tech will finally start to find some gaps in the Texas defense. But Texas, don't count them out just yet. 2 minutes left to go. Bluey ripping this one away, and Indiana Tech, their biggest goal should just be possession. And Bluey, how about that dunk?
And it gets Indiana Tech back in offense. Brilliant dunk at the midfield line. They're putting it all together for at least a 3-minute span. We'll see if that continues as Texas is very close to responding, but don't quite find the mark on their shot. They'll try again, bend off the back wall for Aviator, and he is denied access to the Indiana Tech goal line thanks to Miller. KJ doesn't drop a shot. That was Benda's that ended up being saved by Bluey. So Texas putting a lot of presence around the orange box, but ultimately it's resulting in nothing.
One of the biggest differences in this game, other than just the mechanical prowess on offense, has actually been the speed on defense of Indiana Tech up until this moment right here.
Right, clean shot. Aviator can do that, and it will get Texas back in this game. I mean, 80 or so seconds left, and you would much rather be down 2 goals at this point than down 3. So Texas has a chance.
Be interesting to see what Texas pulls out here. No kickoffs and no immediate passing plays off rip here. So now 60 seconds left. See what Aviator's got in store. He's got one high. Is there a pass? He'll try and aim middle. KJ close, but not close enough. Bluey looking to get out. Oh, look at this read from Benda going left side. Is there a player there to receive? Not a blue one.
2 confident teams doing battle on Tuesday Night Lights. There is nothing more I could ask for. This is exciting Rocket League at the moment, and Bluey's gonna make it even more so. Explosion in the blue net as he slams that shot in, realized that he had Benda dead to rights and just ripped a missile on target. Perfectly done. Indiana Tech should win game 3.
Pile it on, Bluey. 3 for 5. I mean, massive hat trick here. Really shift the tide of this entire series, and that was kind of what I was hoping to see after game 1. Obviously, I have known nothing about Bluey, but based on these last 3 games, he is mechanical, and he can take over a game, and especially with the help of Chip, who's got to spend more time on his back foot here, but that's what Indiana Tech has to do, as Chip completely flips rolls there and looks for a demo, but now Miller gets a shot opportunity. That double won't fall, but Indiana Tech just kind of stalling out at this point.
Clean pop. Doesn't get through Bluey. KJ's follow-up is just a light touch out to the side. Yeah, time's going to expire. Texas lose their first game of the set as Indiana Tech looked incredible in Game 3. They stepped up big time, going down 2-0, and I mean, Bluey leading the charge. I think ultimately he's going to have around 800 points once everything is tallied in Game 3, but Chip and Miller looking extremely good as well. If this continues, I think it could very well even this series up in Game 4. I mean, what is that touch?
Yeah, the most frightening parts about that game for any Texas fan is that this series so far has felt like Indiana Tech kind of playing off of their own miscues and then having to play off their mistakes and back foot for the rest of the game. But when they finally had the mechanical prowess to be consistent, to hit these incredible shots and really take a lead, they looked great on defense. So if that's the difference and this team is warm, who knows where this game 4 is going?
Yeah, Texas has to upgrade if they're going to keep up with Indiana Tech. And what the IT offense looked like in that last game. So, Game 4, the grounds of recovery for Texas, or perhaps the grounds of a full comeback to level us up for Indiana Tech. Good start for KJ, though. Nice couple of challenge wins, but Chip responds in kind.
I will say that Miller, I think, as a quote-unquote third man on this Indiana Tech roster, has had a little more of an impact than KJ, who obviously has came in as a sub here, but I would love to see him play with a little more confidence, really try and put some pressure on, and then see if Benda and Aviator can work out of the midfield. That was kind of what their success story was in Game 1, and even with an Indiana Tech roster that looks a lot more warmed up, I believe they can make that system work, but so far, 30 seconds in, no score.
Chip going back, wall flipping, nearly back into the path of the ball, but Aviator got in the way before we could even see if he was going to be successful in that attempt. Benda, soft touch down the side, finds Aviator down the field, but Chip all kinds of in the way of whatever Aviator was cooking up right there. He then flicks the ball over Benda, but can't fake out KJ on the near side, who's now just beaten Miller, but Miller gets back quickly into defense, takes out Benda, and slows down the Texas offense.
Benda just barely too slow there, trying to give Texas some much-needed momentum, and now Aviator all by himself having to stall out. He'll be one, though. I'm loving the pre-jumps, but I worry that if Texas finally starts finding some of these counterattacks, that they're going to become kind of useless. But we'll see. Bluey, once again, keeping that aggressive style, and he almost finds a dunk on the net here. Miller going to try and keep the pressure on, but Aviator a great beat. But look at Indiana Tech. Right place, right time. This ball falling down on a dime. Chip 1-0.
Hey, credit to Chip for betting on that play. He just dives in, maybe anticipating a miss there from Bennett, noticing he was a little bit late to the play, and capitalizes on it. 1-0 Indiana Tech, picking up right where they left off.
Exactly what you want to see if you're an Indiana Tech fan, even if you're on vacation like poor Bub is, but I'm sure that he's having a good time. Texas, though, not a lot of smiles that I've seen through their gameplay, but this time, they got a lot of boosts here. They got a lot of pressure if Benda can try and get that corner, but instead he pinches. I'm not sure why Texas playing a little rushed here.
KJ's been beaten, and Aviator's been taken out. Benda, though, dodges the last demo of the triple threat that was nearly put on the Texas defense. Either way, Aviator still taken out on the other side. A distinct strategy shift for Indiana Tech, but Texas are surviving it.
Yeah, Texas is doing a really good job to avoid the bumps. Aviator, though, not able to do much there. KJ, uncontested, looking for Aviator, who's also got nobody on him. Up the ceiling, KJ looking left side. Bluey already up, though, and they're just kind of exchanging blows right now.
Hey, I mean, Texas, I don't know how they got out of all the demos that they were giving up and still nearly found an opportunity to tie up this game. But Indiana Tech, I think with the majority of the agency and offense in this game so far. It's a slim majority, but if they can keep it up, 2 minutes left, we could still see this series tied up, though. KJ and Aviator linking up for a touch on the ball. Bluey gets in the way of the shot, and so Texas is pushed back upon.
Yeah, this is going to be Indiana Tech's first true test of defensive consistency here. Now holding on to a 1-goal lead, just barely, and still so much time left to play. And so far their play style really hasn't managed to change too much. Still a lot of pressure, still a lot of solo plays, and still a lot of mechanics coming out, but Texas, I feel like they're slowly chipping away here, including some passing opportunities, and Chip, last man back, but it doesn't even matter.
Oh, KJ found a shot off the back of a couple of deft Benda and Aviator passes, but again, Indiana Tech a man back to make a read. Now Bluey chasing down the field, not going for demo or ball, backing off, allowing Chip to step into the play. Miller is set up. Drop the ball to Bluey, who carries it all the way. And of course, a bump was included in that full-scale package for a second goal. That was clean.
Bluey continuing his offensive presence in the Texas half. And, I mean, originally I didn't even think that was going to be a real chance, but had the boost to get under and around that ball, and an incredible solo play from him.
He can add to his already impressive highlight reel. Bluey trying to set up Chip, but the defense in the way for Texas. Can't get the ball away and instead give Bluey a shot on target that gets saved, but the rebound is very easy for Miller. That ball just sat there for him. It's 3-0 Indiana Tech.
Just some rare defensive miscues from Texas, and unfortunately already down 2. You cannot have that, and this game has been turned on its head. Indiana Tech up 3 once again.
Kickoff. Benda wins the race to the ball, but Chip forces a touch center, and there's no one back for Texas. They give up an easy 4th to Indiana Tech, and this is looking dire for the Longhorns, as Indiana Tech have stepped up big time the last couple of games.
Yeah, I'd hate to call it a mental reset game, but 3 goals in a span of 15 seconds just about. It's looking a little iffy here for Texas, but let's see if there's any magic left in the tank.
Aviator's usually the guy to provide it, and in the corner gives KJ a goal. Okay, maybe there is a little sparkle or two in the Texas camp.
Bottom right here is just a very well-placed shot, and it's off of Indiana Tech making an error. So this game kind of getting a little out of whack here, but still a 3-goal lead stands.
All right, 60 seconds left. I don't see this comeback happening, but it is possible. Chip can put an end to it right here, right now, though, with a big dunk. Ball drops in the direction of Miller, but not a perfect spot for him to field it, though he does well to keep control. Set up Bluey for a setup right back to Miller. 5-1, and this game's over.
Yeah, I mean, I guess why be worried when all Bluey had to do was just pick up the pace and Miller just do the exact same thing top left. I mean, 4 goals here, 40 seconds. I don't think this series has been messy enough to see a comeback here.
Nope. And Indiana Tech, I mean, 5 goals in this game so far, 4 in the previous. They were held to 2 in the game 2 and game 1. Not combined 2, but 2 each. And they've just found a rhythm, I feel like. It was sloppy. They had pressure. They couldn't get through Texas, even when they did start to find some momentum in offense. But all of a sudden, in game 3, they found a rhythm. Aviator still feeling pretty good. That was a pretty decent shot, but it's ultimately not enough here in game 4.
I mean, hey, you'll take whatever momentum you can get, especially after losing what will most likely be 2 games in a row here. I mean, you need to flip things around. You need to make adjustments, and if Aviator can maybe have to step up on offense and maybe somebody else has to play back, then so be it.
Nice demo. Indiana Tech using a lot more explosions to find space against Texas in this game especially. And it was just that spree that they went on of demos. And Texas still did well to defend that. I don't know what happened all other times, giving up 5. But, hey, almost found a 3rd. So it's not terrible for Texas at the moment, but they have to find a way to stop Indiana Tech's offense.
Yeah, and especially when Bluey, I mean, looks like a different player these last 2 games. I mean, I was critical of the solo plays of Indiana Tech, and Chip and Bluey kind of taking their own jabs, but now the focus is kind of shifted because they're actually hitting said solo plays. So I wonder if Texas' momentum is purely mechanical here, or if it truly is a rotational difference.
We'll see. I mean, we're tied up now, 2-2. Game 5 and a guaranteed game 6 as well coming up. And for Texas, I'm wondering if they just try to manage in defense or if they try to up the speed. I know they've, in years past, been able to up their pace of play and force teams to play at a faster pace. But right here, they have been dusted at times by Indiana Tech. And right here, Bluey winning that ball clean. No KJ in proper position for it. They'll find it clear. We'll see what Texas builds off the back of it.
Yeah, I mean, Texas was right there in game number 4. I mean, they really had it for the first 2.5 minutes of that game, but then they had the one crash out, and next thing you know, you're fighting from 3-4 goals back. And so I think for Texas, the biggest keys of the game is to get back to that consistency that you had at the beginning of the series. It's what you're known for. That's what you should be able to do best here, and you cannot let the pressure of a player like Bluey get to you, and especially get to more than one of you.
Oh, Chip's in an awkward spot, and Aviator, he noticed. Cleans up after expecting the miss from the back wall defender of Indiana Tech, and Texas right back on it.
Yeah, Chip, unfortunately, I think he could have used one more pad there, and that's uncharacteristic from him, and really not much to work with in the first place. So Aviator will take it. Texas finally getting some momentum here.
The side wall, Bluey collects. Looking to cut around KJ, but he just runs straight into the ball and plays it backwards for the Texas defense to field from their goal line, which Aviator does, but this flip reset was actually met by Benda as he demos Chip and wins the 50-50 and nearly scores. Benda almost doing it all.
Very dangerous there from Bluey, but once again, Indiana Tech's confidence, it was killing them the first 2 games, but it's been the reason that they've continued to do well up until this game. We're going to see Texas take another goal.
Chip, he tried to get out of the defensive zone, but Aviator fielded the ball, and that situation was made worse by Benda cutting through the play and accidentally hitting that ball right at KJ Storm. So 2-0 Texas, cleaning up on that last play, but Indiana Tech, I'm sure they've still got a little bit of momentum, at least on their offensive side, for how well they've been playing the last couple of games. We'll see if they can use that to get back here. They nearly did.
Indiana Tech, that is 2 off the post, narrow opportunities, and this might just be a 3rd. Chip looking, but that shot is weak. Miller won't dunk. Bluey, the 3rd man, all the way up, doubling, dropping, but will not find the back of the net. Look at the confidence, still losing out.
And Chip, he just kind of plays as the back wall, and KJ reacts quickly. So there's no control for the Texas defense at the moment. Indiana Tech finding a shot, but no save. Aviator gets behind the play. Bluey beats one. Can't quite beat KJ, but Miller can. It's awkward here. Indiana Tech have Texas in a bad spot, and Bluey off the back wall has no teammate to immediately shoot. So Texas have time to recover and find a way out.
Bluey a slight miscue. I believe he had the boost and the angle for that double, but unfortunately couldn't get back to it after the initial flip, but he's going to find the ball regardless, and Chip will find Bluey. If this could be a shot, it would be incredible, but the comeback will not be kick-started just yet. Halfway through this first game, Texas barely surviving, but doing a solid job.
Vader's got no boost. Chip doesn't know that, but he still finds his teammate. Bluey plays that ball quickly into Texas territory, but out into the corner where KJ fields it, forces a touch towards Benda. Texas, they can't gain any kind of space in offense at the moment. Indiana Tech are playing too quickly in their defensive rotations. And KJ here, no control with that, didn't have the boost to control the ball. So Chip keeps the play going for Indiana Tech, though a passing play. Finds Texas over the midfield line, but still right back into play in defense as Miller keeps control, finds Bluey to the back wall, still no goal.
Texas, though, looking a little panicked. This is a 2-goal lead. They've got to slow it down a little bit. You don't want to have another major sequence where you see Indiana Tech take 1, 2, 3, or even a 4th goal in a row, and that one, another very narrow save for Texas.
There's no boost in the Texas camp at the moment. Aviator, he was able to fill up his tank and will be needed on the goal line. Comes up with nothing. Chip going to score that one from near the midfield line as he got a flip reset, and that was enough to confuse the Texas defense.
Yeah, I mean, confusion is a nice way to put it. I'm not exactly sure how that one found a way through the Texas half, but Indiana Tech will take it, and with 90 seconds left, pretty crucial time here.
I think Aviator thought, I think it was Miller diving in right there, was going to get an extra touch on that ball, and he just didn't. And so it confused a little bit, but yeah, it looked bad. And Texas find their lead cut in half. A minute or so to go. Indiana Tech, they can keep up the amount of possession they've had over the last couple of minutes. They really are in a good spot to make this comeback happen.
Well, what does Indiana Tech have in store? Top left is on the shelf, but Miller wants bottom side. It was a close opportunity, and Aviator will die, so there's still another one in store. Chip, reset, won't get it. And now KJ will give the ball away to Miller. Miller could beat 2 here. Does he have a third? Aviator gets over 1. Is there another player? It's actually 2 Texas players. 40 seconds left. Bluey looking to dunk Aviator. Here comes Chip off the backboard. This one will come down. One more touch. He's dunked. Miller's not there, and he backflips. Is he going to get back in time here? Yes, he will, but another opportunity for Indiana Tech will just narrowly fall away. Nobody will defend. Chip is on the other corner. It's chaos. It's tragedy. I'm not sure what happened here for Indiana Tech.
Miller just couldn't keep the ball close in the corner. An Aviator dunks him. The ball goes mid, and there was no one back for Indiana Tech. They had put a sizable bet on scoring in that last sequence. But now they need 2 in the final 30. And off kickoff, they've got a decent opportunity to collect. Bluey off to the side is faked out by Aviator. Chip fields the ball at the side wall. Goes up to the back wall, and Texas sets up Miller, whose dunk on Aviator goes just slightly off to the side, and that should give Texas a 3-2 series lead.
Almost getting clip of the entire night right there at the end just for a statement game, but Texas right back on track. You win the first 2, you lose 2, but then you get right back on it. Take a win here in Game 5.
And it's funny, there has yet to be a game in this series where Texas has outshot Indiana Tech. Every game has been just mountains of pressure on the Texas defense, and yet they find ways to stop it. In some cases, it's becoming a little 50-50. You look at games 3 and 4 as examples of what happens when Texas isn't making every single save they need to. But games 1, 2, and 5, they were finding blocks like nobody's business despite great pressure from the Warriors. But Indiana Tech couldn't get it done, so now they need to win 2 in a row if they are going to keep the Great Lakes streak going. SEL lost earlier, but Texas in a good spot to get one back. Here's moving to Game 6.
My heart says Texas, but my heart also says Game 7, and Indiana Tech looking to push for that, but that flip reset a little too hard.
And now a low boost Chip has to rush back into defense, and does nicely. We got a piece of that ball on the attempted clear, but he redeems himself with a great stretch pass to Miller, but Aviator finds a clear out of the zone, looks to add on to it. It's no shot or anything like that. No real opportunities so far in the first 30 seconds.
If you're simply looking at styles of play, you said it best, Bepic, is that Texas, they haven't led Indiana Tech. in shots in any game, and that's exactly the purpose, is that they don't need to. They are a more comfortable team.
Yep.
They don't have nearly as much solo mechanical ability as Bluey and Chip, in my opinion at least, but again, that all doesn't matter when you're playing defense this well, and when you're finding the counterattacks as well. But you gotta watch out though, as Bluey might just open up an opportunity, but Aviator, a great read, and he's got more.
Chip is low on boost, has to take this ball over, and KJ doesn't let him, gives Aviator some space, and Aviator must just love that part of the Indiana Tech back wall. It's his second double tap in close quarters, and that one just as clean as the last.
I mean, if you've got it read that well, then why not? If that ball was on target, Chip had it. He was blocking that corner so well, but it wasn't corner, and so unfortunately not much he can do in Texas. Right back on, well, I guess I was going to say their high horse, but I guess more of a bull over there.
Either way, in the lead, in a game they can win. They claim this best of 7, but it's only a 1-goal lead. Indiana Tech, in the games that they've dropped, have looked in decent positions to make comebacks happen. Game 2 almost closed a 3-goal game down the previous game. And we're looking decent. It was a 2-goal lead for Texas, but Indiana Tech had a decent go at that comeback. And here, just trying to fight for possession, which Chip will win a battle, but not quite the war just yet. Aviator responds with a carry mid, and a 50-50 actually ends up taking away possession from Texas.
Once again, it is a major test for Indiana Tech and Texas as well. And last time we had this kind of narrow 1-goal lead, we saw Texas defense crumble. And so Indiana Tech, under the pressure, what are they going to do?
Well, pass together. Makes sense. Been playing well around one another. Chip and Bluey, one's combining for that passing play clearance from the midfield line. Results in a couple of center balls, but Texan Cars right in the middle, where they should be to defend shots on target. But here we go again, Bluey. Solo effort, this time stops the point of contact. KJ gets a toe on the ball. Miller tries to keep control and actually does well with 50-50 right there. So Indiana Tech get a double commit out of Texas, but still no goal to equalize.
Back-to-back double commits, and there's even a third there as well, but now it's 3 players up for Indiana Tech. KJ won't get a shot on. Benda 0 boost. Bluey looking top left. It's off. KJ will touch it off as well. Miller backboard to tie this one up. Bottom left, it's pushed wide. Bluey pitching. Can he find more? No, it's Aviator who, with barely any boost. Texas just simply fighting off of fumes right now. He'll try to get this out. He'll be bumped off. Bluey top left. He'll find it this time. Tie game.
Indiana Tech finally found their moment. That ball poked out mid thanks to a bump on Aviator from Chip, and Bluey, he's a flashy player, but he knows what to do with a simple pop shot on target. 1-1.
Well, here we go. 2 minutes left. Got Indiana Tech on their back foot. Both a lot in this game, but also literally in the series. But now, with some new life, what can they find in store? Texas looking to make sure that goal won't stunt them too much, but they're doing a good job of keeping the pressure as of now.
And Chip thought about sticking with that play, but had to let it go. Didn't have the boost funds to make that transaction. And Texas, with their newly found possession, find a couple of good shots and ultimately a second Aviator goal. The Longhorns are back out in front.
Well, that's exactly what you want to see. And again, who better than Aviator? 3 defenders in the net, and he finds the perfect spot to put it. Massive goal here with under 90 seconds remaining.
That's clean from Texas. Exactly what they needed heading into the final 90 seconds of Game 6. Put all the pressure on Indiana Tech to make the comeback happen. But pressure is something Indiana Tech can work with. That's a couple of carries mid, but ultimately a Texas clear. A Benda follow-up that isn't the prettiest. So Chip and Miller get the Warriors back out in front.
Miller playing slow. For a bump here, he'll clean it. Will another player is going to be bump traded, so that ball won't even be touched till the end there. Aviator looking for more. Dunked one. Out of net. KJ a little slow to this one. Chip backboard, slamming this one away. Possibly away, but here comes the Indiana Tech once again, throwing a lot of possession away. They've got to find more here, including the boost. Chip has absolutely nothing. Neither does Miller. Louis can use all of it. Benda will get a beat here. Is there a shot opportunity? KJ faking, and Aviator was up. Bluey's got a counter. Chips has a 50. No, he's faked. Aviator staring down the barrel of a loaded gun. Not concerned.
I cannot believe Aviator just did that. It might result in a goal. KJ couldn't get that double on target, but man, that's the difference between maybe a goal if Indiana Tech commit on that Aviator fake and what was Texas pressure, but a clear's been found, and a double clear to the corner is not good for Texas, though Miller couldn't read that play perfectly, so it has to be done on 0 seconds. Indiana Tech, a decent opportunity, but they have to keep the ball up going backwards. Bluey pops the ball back to himself, and Texas is all over it. They end the series on their terms. A third goal in Game 6, a win in Game 6, and SEL clap back.
Well, how about Texas just mentally staying in that game? Really no concern there, even with the momentum shifting, where it was literally 2 in a row, and then 2 in a row once again. So this is kind of the preseason look that I would expect from a lot of these teams, but some very high highs here.
And as Aviator rushes to open the stream to hear me say his name, I'll talk about Indiana Tech. This is a new look roster. I think going into the fall, they have some sparkle. They're going to be a fun team to watch, especially once they get that chemistry down, because the solo plays were very good at times, and the follow-up stifled by Texas. Occasionally there were those 2 games in a row where the Warriors really took off, but once they find a rhythm together, I can't wait to see this team in Great Lakes.
Yeah, I mean, Bluey and Chip working together could be all sorts of things. And I'm sure we'll see them on land. I'm sure they'll do great things in Great Lakes. But once again, like we mentioned, Texas, an established team. They've been around the block more times than once, apparently, since you've been casting them for 4 straight years. But that consistency simply makes the difference. And, of course, Aviator was the real difference maker in the end there with that incredible top left shot. But a really great performance from all 3 members, even with the sub.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Texas is still ironing out who their starting lineup is going to be, but KJ looked good jumping in from the sub spot. Obviously, there are wrinkles to be ironed out, but that's a good starting point for the Longhorns. And Aviator was spectacular as usual. He is always the catalyst for their offense. And Bennett knows how to play around it. They've been doing it for a long time, as we've talked about. But Aviator, great work if you're in chat. I saw the viewer count pop up by 1, so I'm going to assume that's you coming here. He always wants me to say his name at the end of series, so good job, Aviator. 2 thumbs up from me, and a good win to get the SEL back on the board. It's 1-1 now, and TJ, our next series to break the tie is hopefully the banger we all hope it'll be, UTK versus Michigan State. I mean, these are 2 teams that were 1 or 2 series off of making summer series. This should be a good one coming up.
Yeah, I think this series that we just watched and the last series of the day are kind of sleeper series, but this one is easily on the top of the title card. So much incredible top-level talent, obviously on the side of Michigan State. I mean, you know what? We're probably going to talk about the rosters. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I love Mar. I love what that team does, but this UTK roster has a special place in my heart, and so I'm very excited to see what they do.
All right, well, that's coming up in just a little bit, the prime time spot on the first episode of Tuesday Night Lights and the 3rd edition of the SEL versus Great Lakes Rivalry Night. We're going to take a short break, probably about 10 minutes, before we have our 3rd series of the night coming up, so don't go too far, but make sure you fuel up, because this next one should be a long one. I'll see you there.